If you're in Seattle, and you need to buy or sell a home, we'll be right there for you. Because we're the realtors that you can trust. So go to ronanddonsitdown.com.
You're listening to The Ron and Don Show on the Ron and Don Radio Network.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Ron and Don Show featuring our guest host Rachel Belle, live in the Team Lisa with a Y studios.
Lisa with a Y!
Team Lisa with a Y for all of your mortgage needs. I said the with a Y, I shouldn't have said the Y, that's Matt's line. Let me try it one more time. Team Lisa
With a Y.
with a Y.com. Rachel, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Oh my God, we haven't. Thank you to you too, Matt.
We haven't done this in years.
Quote live radio in many years.
Well,
I know.
we did an episode of your podcast, but
Yes.
like that's been a couple years since then.
Yeah.
So just for a little background, if you're just joining us on the YouTubes or the Spotify video, Rachel and I have known each other for 20 years.
20 and a half years.
20 and a half years, and we worked at Cairo together in 2 iterations on the radio. And so we've got some great news stories for you coming up later. We're going to talk about can people that work in the service industry actually afford to live in Seattle? What's up with all the young people not drinking alcohol? And why are people just ghosting? But let's get to you for a minute, because I think when people see this, they're going to be excited to see me and you talking to each other.
Can I ask
Can I ask, are we going to play the song?
Oh, well, I can find the Rachel Belle song.
I was
of
wondering if you
course.
had this. Also, can I ask like an amateur question? Because
Sure.
we didn't talk about. Am I supposed to look in that camera, or am I supposed to look at you?
You can do whatever. Like, look, you and I can talk because we have
Okay.
3 cameras.
Okay.
And this will just be the cutaway. So
Okay.
let's do.
Do you have my song? There it is.
You can ring my bell.
I'm in
Rachel Bell. You can ring my bell. Rachel Bell.
Do you remember her saying that? Was it a sales executive?
Yeah,
That had
I
a
think
really
it was
good voice?
Tina.
Yeah, she was really good.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do a catch-up segment here.
Okay.
For people that maybe have followed us or have watched us for years. So we left Cairo, and even though you were working on our show, we were asked to leave Cairo, like give us your card key and get the heck out of the building. The axe didn't fall on you, so they kept you around. I don't know if I've ever talked to you about this. What was that like when you find out one day, it's like, oh, the show that you're on, we fired them?
Well, I mean, obviously not getting into like, oh my God, and feeling bad for you guys. It was actually very confusing because they didn't have a plan for me. They weren't going to get rid of me, but nobody came to me and said, okay, this is what you're doing now. I waited like a day and then went in and was like, hi, what do I do? Like they
Right.
just didn't even think about it. I mean, I could have probably like sneakily gotten away with not doing work for a while and
Because
just sat
for
there.
behind the scenes, you were on our show twice a show every day.
I was on your show for 10 years.
Right. And
Yeah.
so no one told you, no one gave you a heads up?
No, and even after you were gone, nobody brought me into the office and said, okay, so this is what's going to happen.
Wow, I didn't know
So
that.
odd. So I kind of had to advocate for myself, and I felt like I was selling Girl Scout cookies. I went to every show and I was like, hi, I'm Rachel Belle, and would you like to have me on your show? But I went to management, I said, this feels really awkward and uncomfortable that I have to, can you like, what if they want to say no, but they don't want to say it on my face? Like, could you guys facilitate asking if I'm going to be on the
So
show?
doing what though? Like features or being a guest or doing, because we have a
Both.
very specific thing that you would do on our show, which is you would do features, but we try to do features that really fit your personality, because that was one of the reasons you didn't like news radio to begin with, of like doing dumpster fires and murders and stuff. And then you would also do Ring My Bell, which we just played the open for, which is stories. And I got to say, to toot Rachel's horn here for a minute, most news stations, 99% of news stations across America had 0 female listeners. Like the demographic split was like 95% to 5%. And when we brought you onto the show, the goal was, let's do some stories that women care about. And so it was just like, Rachel, pick the stories that you like. And it had huge dividends, like the female listenership. I don't know if it's 100% because of you, but a big chunk of it, I think, was because of you.
Well, I don't usually toot my horn, but I will say there were times when my segment, Ring My Bell, was the highest rated segment of the day on Cairo Radio. So
Yeah.
I was like, oh, people are listening.
Right.
But I remember when I had lived in Japan for a year. I worked at Cairo for 3 years. I quit. I was living in Japan. You and Don contacted me and asked me if I wanted to be on your show when I came back. And I moved back and I was living in Sacramento for a few weeks. And I remember like where I was standing on the street, I was on the phone with you and I was like, Ron, I don't want to be your stupid morning show lady. That's like, you guys are the hosts. And then I'm like the dumb girl. And you're like, no, it's not going to be like that. Because that was the only way that I heard women on radio shows.
Yeah.
So I was like, absolutely not. And you were like, I assure you that will never happen. And it didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Rachel's right. The Ring My Bell segment for a good chunk of time was the highest rated in radio quarter hour, as they call them, the highest rated quarter hour on the entire station. And so we're gone. You're going through that. And I guess you would be on with Dave for a while. And
I went on kind of everybody's show. And then I was never on Dory's show, but yeah, I basically continued doing my feature reporting, and then I would pop onto those shows and I would, talk about my story.
And then you'd pitch it to the rest of the day parts.
Well, no, I was like on the shows every day. So I was on with Dave Ross every day. For a little while, I was on with G and Ursula, and then I was on with Tom and Curly in the afternoon.
Okay.
And then I did like the night show for a little bit, but it was just too many things. So yeah, I was Dave and then Tom and Curly. Those were my segments that I was on every day.
So then what happened? Because your tenure at Cairo came to an end. Did you initiate that or did they initiate it? How did that happen?
It's a long story, but I will
We're
say...
on a podcast. We got nothing but time here, Belle.
By long story, I mean not public story, but
Okay.
what I will say is that they didn't let me go. I chose to leave because they were kind enough to let me take my podcast with me, which is unheard of.
So explain what that means for people, because you had you still have a podcast, and it was nominated for a James Beard Award, which is the highest honor you can get in the food media. And so explain how it normally would work.
Yeah. And I guess for people who've never heard of me, I'll just say I was at Cairo for 15 years and I was a news reporter for 20 years. And I'm at Cascade PBS now in Seattle, which I can get into a little bit more in a minute. Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute. Wait, what was the question?
So back up, like you were on our show, but you really were passionate not about doing a Ring My Bell segment.
Yes.
You came to everybody and was like, this is what I really want to do. I want to do a podcast called...
Well, no, what Cairo did was they wanted to start making podcasts. So they said, anyone who has an idea, make a
pitch.
Like a pitch, yeah, and just like make the first episode, a pilot. And then we'll have these people picking 3 of them and then we'll go forward with those. So I had this idea for years and I never thought I would actually make it because in my head it was going to be a Netflix TV show. I had no connections. I wasn't trying to pitch it or anything, but I had this idea of Last Meals, which came from, I was researching some story and came across this website that looked like it was from 1992 that had the list of every last meal of every death row inmate that had been executed in Texas.
Okay.
And almost everyone wanted fried chicken. Some people chose one thing, some people chose 20, and I just thought it was interesting.
And so in Texas, do you get whatever you ask for?
At the time, not anymore, actually. I can talk about that in a minute.
Okay.
At the time, yes and no, though, even then, it wasn't like, they were going to leave the prison and go out and bring you in McDonald's. They would make it. So I was told that if you wanted lobster, they would take the breading off a fish stick kind of thing.
Okay.
But, they tried their best. But I started thinking about it and asking people the question, what would you want for your last meal? Friends? And then I would ask chefs. And so I had this idea to ask celebrities about their last meals. And in my Pie in the Sky TV show, we would go anywhere in the world to see that food being made, or we'd go to their mom's house and they'd cook it. So when Cairo came up with this podcast idea,
sort of company-wide, Bonneville-wide, was like, we want to, podcasting's the way of the future. Everybody in the company pitch your podcasts.
This was just at Cairo, though, like that. So I was like, I can turn that idea into a podcast. And I thought this could be appealing to multiple people because it could be people who are into food, but also people who are into celebrities. And then I brought in this third element, which was to have another guest or a couple other guests on to go into the history, the culture, the science of the food we talk about. So I made my pilot. My first episode was with Tom Douglas.
Yeah.
And this month is the show's 10th anniversary.
Wow.
I'm still
making it. Do you
making
think that first episode was fully realized, or did you sort of...
Actually, yes, because you usually go back and listen to your old work and you're like, whoa. And there are some of the old shows that aren't my favorite. That first show is good. It holds up and it's exactly what the show became. And it's a good show. I mean, I say that because there's lots that I'm like, oh, I would delete that one.
Again, to take you behind the curtain in media. So like when Don and I were escorted out of the building, what the company did is said, hey, all of your like social media following and all of this stuff that you created is work product. And so we're taking that away from you. Like
Yeah.
you can't, we had
It's intellectual property.
50, 60,000 people on our Ron and Don page. We had all of our catalog of work, even the song that I just played for you because I was able to get some of those audio files. All that stuff's considered work product. And so they say, you can't have any of that. We, as the media company, you were being paid while you created that. So
Yes.
that's our work.
And that's very common. I mean, I interviewed the guy who started Comedy Central and he didn't get to keep it. Like they fired him. Like he came up with the idea, but he came up with it on company hours and they fired him from his own idea. So it's very common to not get to keep the stuff that you make when you're at a large company. But very long story, very short. They told me that I could keep the show and I was given the option to stay. But my job would kind of change a little bit or I could go, and I decided to go because I could take my podcast and that was something that I could make money with and fulfill a very, very long, decades long dream of only doing food media because
Right.
I've always had my toe in it because I always wanted to do it ever since I was 20, I did my first food writing. And so before I started the podcast, I was always doing freelance food writing on the side. Then I started the podcast and I didn't have time for that. Anything anyone would ask me to do, I'm judging a chowder competition with
Right.
Jim Dever, down
Right.
at Ivers. And so this was my dream, but I was scared because I grew up in the kind of family where it's like you get insurance, you work for somebody, like you have
a
to have every
briefcase and you go to your job with your shoulder pads on.
Even if you're wearing a tank top, you glue them on like epaulets.
Right.
Like I have them on right now. So I just took the risk because it was a calculated risk and I left, and just so happened that the day that I put in my notice, I got an email from Cascade PBS, who at the time was KCTS 9, asking me if I would be interested in meeting with them about a job. And I was like, what? Like on the same day, because I had done some freelance with them. And that's kind of like, I was always saying yes, 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 yes. And I was always doing different projects on the side that I was allowed to do, in my contract.
Can we be a little woo-woo for a second? Because I
Yeah.
remember you and I having multiple conversations around this time. And I think we both arrived at the thing of like, hey, if you close a door, another door is going to open. And you just have to trust. But there was a lot of anxiety wrapped up in that. It's easy for me to say at the time, but you did that. How scary was it to just go, I'm going to close a door and the universe is going to open another door?
It was really scary at first, but after I put my notice in, I think I was there for like 3 weeks or a month. And like as the time went on and I started planning how I was going to do everything when I left, I was less and less and less nervous. But I'm a very frugal person, this. So I didn't hire a producer. I'm like, I'm doing this all by myself.
Right.
I'm going to do, like I had,
You had a laptop in your house.
Well,
with
but
a
also it was
microphone.
like the way I was making money was with sponsors. And so it was like, normally you don't have your show. You're not managing the sponsorships and doing all the editing and all the producing and being the host. And I was like, I'm not giving anyone any of my money because
Right.
I was afraid of like how much I was going to make. But then when I got that offer, this was in maybe November. And then I kept having talks with them and they said, we'd love to start you in July. So I got to have this 7-month period where I got to work for myself, knowing I was going to have another job later. So even if like money was a problem, I would have a salary coming. And then I got to have this break that I never got to have. Well, that's not true. I quit my job at Cairo another time in 2008 and I lived in Japan and I left. But I just got to like be free for 7 months and not have to go directly into another job. But after doing that work on my own for a while, I was like, this is way too stressful. I don't want to have to worry about having sponsors or not. I want someone else to worry about that. And I want to have a salary and I want to have insurance. So I took the full-time offer at Cascade PBS. They wanted my podcast and they said, well, if you come over, you also have to have a TV show. And I was like, little 6-year-old show pony me was like, what? So yeah, I got to develop a show that's called The Nosh with Rachel Belle. We just wrapped the 3rd season. We're already shooting the 4th. And this is, I'm like having my dream
All right, so
career
we
right
gotta
now.
Time out and rewind that a
Yeah.
little bit because that's a huge deal.
Yeah.
And so it is.
And sorry, I don't believe in woo stuff in the universe, but there were a lot of, you could believe some of that. I also have been working hard for a really long time and meeting a lot of people, and I'd been in town for a long time. I got that offer from Cascade PBS, and then like a month after that, I got cold emailed from Sasquatch Books asking if I wanted to write it.
In a minute.
Oh, okay.
So, but I do want to say, like, I remember multiple times, and again, correct me if I'm wrong here. I remember telling you, it's like, Rachel, you are a star. If people like you, people love you, and whatever you're going to go into, you have a following, and it's hard to believe that, but like, I think that was true. Like, it was, you kind of had to step into that in a way. Is that fair?
It's just all money based. You know, it's like finances. It's like, sure, all these people listen, but am I going to be able to make money off of this? You know, it's kind of separate. It's like, cool, those people love you, but do the sponsors want to come in and sponsor you?
Yeah.
So
let's talk about, we had talked about television. You and I did a little pilot for a different style of show where we were going to take people around neighborhoods in Seattle, and I had hired a cameraman, and we like went into Fremont.
What was our show called?
It was I forget it, but like we had a whole intro, and like we did Fremont, and we met with
we went to Revel
and all these places and did
Rachel
interviews.
Yang.
And so TV had always been percolating right under the surface for you. So when Cascade approaches you, what was that like?
I mean, it just sounded really fun. I mean, I also had it in the back of my head. How old was I? 43? I was like, I'm going to have a TV show starting at 43. People are going to rip me apart because I have other friends who work in local TV like Kim Holcomb. Women, I should say, like men don't get this, but women in local TV who just get all these emails about their appearance constantly. And I'm like, I'm going to start in my 40s. Are people going to message and be like, you have wrinkles, you're old? That was the only thing that I was like a little, but because of the style of the show, it's not talking into the camera. We shoot, let me just drop a little cinema verite style. We shoot documentary style. So I was like, oh, this is easy for me. I will get to do exactly what I already do, which is just interviewing people and talking to people and being myself.
Is the show exactly what you wanted it to be, or did you have to like take it to Cascade and they're like, we don't want to do that, or we want to do that?
It's not like a really, the concept is like very simple. So I had another idea that I pitched to them like a couple years before that was more about the outdoors and like outdoor food having to do with people of different cultures, and they were like, we already kind of have someone doing this and that. So basically the show is it's a storytelling show about food and drink. So it's just exactly what I've done my whole career, which is just finding stories, but within this realm of eating and drinking. So it's not a restaurant review show. It's not a cooking show. It's not like we're finding these like extremely deep stories, but like
some of them are.
Some of them are, yeah. So I was like, I can do this. This is what I've always done. And I don't have to look in the camera. I don't have to memorize lines. I just get to be myself, and the camera happens to be there. So I wasn't nervous really about it.
What's been the hardest part of transitioning from audio-based content to video-based content?
There's no hard part.
Really?
It's actually
because I found television takes way longer to do anything.
It takes way longer, but that's not hard for me because I'm being paid. It doesn't matter what, you know what I mean? It's like if I'm there 8 hours or I'm there 2 hours, it's like, sure, that's my job. The easier part is that I don't have to freaking edit it.
Right.
It's great. It's easier for me because with my podcast, I have a producer, and like on the radio we had a producer, but like I still do like, you know, editing audio and stuff.
And typing with 2 fingers.
I still type with my first 2 fingers, but this, it's like, I'm the talent, baby. And I mean, I'm also...
So do you get to go into an edit booth and be like, I'd like a warm tea, and like, can we roll that back a little, a couple frames there, tighten up that dissolve?
Yes, but we do it all from our houses.
Oh, okay.
So I'm not in the room, but yeah, we have like these programs where you write notes, but yeah, I'm also a producer on it. So I would 95% of the ideas of all the episodes are mine. I suggest a lot of the people, and then I am like, I have an opinion in the editing and stuff, which obviously I like. But it's easier because when I'm done, I leave. I don't have to edit it, and I'm happy about that.
Let's talk the cookbook for a minute, and then we're going to circle back out. So again, as like life coming full circle, I remember times where you took me to a cookbook only store, the Book Larder in Fremont,
yes.
where it's just like, Ron, you gotta see this bookstore.
I love it.
And like you collect cookbooks, you would read cookbooks like as your bedtime stories.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, one day I got a message from you. Will you be a test recipe maker for my new cookbook I'm working on? And I'm like, how does that even work? And I did try to do a test recipe for you.
You did.
But
You did the soba.
Tell me more.
So when the pandemic happened, we weren't allowed to bring guests into the Cairo studios anymore. Obviously, you couldn't be face to face with people. And then a couple years went by and I was like, can we bring people in now? I feel like this is over. And so the first person that I brought in to interview was the publisher of Sasquatch Books, talking about a story. Like, I thought about this for a long time, which was, if I go to the library, is that bad for authors? If I'm not, because I love independent bookstores, but it's like, if I go to the library, am I anti-independent bookstores? And
Right.
so I was trying to do that story. So I brought her in. Her name's Jen Warwick. She's not the publisher anymore. And she came in and we immediately hit it off. And before the mics went on, we just chatted for half an hour. We just really got along. And I deployed my kindergarten trick for making friends, which I always tell people to do, which was just saying, will you be my friend at the end? And she said yes. And I don't even think we like got together even then, because it was like a month after that. She sent me a message and said, hey, we have this idea for wanting to do a tahini or a sesame based cookbook. I listened to a podcast episode you did about tahini and you were real into it.
Hummus.
My hummus from my father's Middle Eastern background. And we're thinking of calling it Open Sesame. So it's like puns, cookbook, and I was like,
Right.
yeah. And this was like within the same month that I was leaving and
Right.
that I had, been starting to talk with Cascade PBS. So I was like, how many old ladies do I have to walk across the street to build back this karma? What is happening?
Right.
What
Bam,
is
bam, bam.
happening? And then also it was like, if that cookbook deal would have come in earlier, there would have been so many complications. I would have had to like get permission from Cairo and I wouldn't have had much time, but it happened at this moment when I left. So I had this 7 months where I was working for myself that I could do it whenever I wanted and I could test recipes and I didn't have to worry that I was like not doing my work. So it was just like perfect timing.
And so on bookshelves now, it's been out for a while, but you can
A year
still
and a half.
buy Open Sesame or
Yeah.
get it on Amazon.
And I got to have my book launch party at Book Larder.
You did. I was there in the
Yeah.
second row. When you, as a consumer of cookbooks and like fancy ones, not fancy ones, like celebrity chefs and non-celebrity chefs, what was it like to then you had the pressure on to write a cookbook? Because you had so many, you had to have hundreds of examples floating in your head of like, maybe I want it to look like this, or like the photography is so important, etc. Your hand model is important.
Okay, can I do a little side story? I was just telling someone, do you remember this? I was doing a Ring My Bell story and it was some story about a hand model. And I didn't even realize what I said. I exclaimed in the middle of telling a story, how do you even get these hand jobs? Do you remember that? Sean would always save those little parts. Anyway, speaking of hand models, I felt a little bit of pressures, but again, I don't know what was going on in the universe at the time. I had the best experience. I feel like a Pollyanna with all of this that I'm saying, but I had the best experience making this book. So I didn't just get the book deal. They were asking me to write a proposal. So it still had to go through the system. And Sasquatch is owned by Penguin Random House. So it had to like go up that chain. So
And you had to come up with like 100 recipes for tahini.
it's only 50, but yeah. So the reason I knew that I was on the right path was after she asked me if I wanted to write this proposal, I stopped what I was doing immediately in that moment and I started writing down recipe ideas, and within 24 hours I had a list of 50. And not that those all made it in the book, but I was like, I am into this. Like I was so ready to go and excited. And so I met with the woman who became my editor, Jill, and we immediately hit it off. So I wasn't really worried about what it was going to look like and the pressure, because everybody I met with, we were all on the same page.
And did they want you to be full Rachel Belle in the little, whatever the top of the page is called?
The head notes.
The head notes.
Yeah. And I didn't think that. It's not like I thought I was ghostwriting it, but I just thought they already have an idea. They already have the title. This is their idea, and I'm filling in the blanks. But then they said, no, you should put your personality in it. Like, part of the reason we're coming to you is because, you know, you're known in Seattle, and obviously that's how they sell books. Like, you have to have somebody. So put yourself into it. And boy, did I. Like, I think I might have one of the only cookbooks that has the word fart in it. I mean, it's very me. There's a picture that I really fought for early in the book. That's me looking like I'm getting a facial with, like, I have like a leopard turban on, and my face is, instead of a mask, it's the beet hummus from the book, and I have like a cucumber on my eye. So yes, it's very me, but they were just on board with all of it. And so you make a vision board for how you want the photography and the colors to look, and we all were into it. So I never had that feeling, you know, like when you're working with people and you don't like what they're making, or you have a different work ethic, and you get that feeling of just like in your stomach of dread and like, oh, this is not going to turn out. I never had that. It just.
How did the book do? How's it doing? Did it do it to expectation?
It's fine. Like they don't really seem to care.
Okay.
If they do, they haven't told me. Yeah, it's done well enough. I mean, you know, it's not like a bestseller. For me, the way I looked at it was, I didn't make a ton of money on this book. I mean, I made $12,000 was what I made. And then, you know, if it does well, you'll start getting paid more. So to me, this was a giant art project. I was doing it not for the money.
On the first one.
Yeah. And it was like, this is so fun. I love doing this. And then, like, bonus, I'll get paid some money. So for me, I didn't look at it like, oh, I'm going to make it big. It was like, this is good and fun, and I'm just going to enjoy the process.
And so, for right here, I'm super excited and glad that this all happened to you, and I'm like proud of all the stuff that you put in as someone that's known you since your 20s.
I know. You never know. I was 25.
I know. It's a very different Rachel Belle and a very different me back then. So now you're a full-time food media person.
Yeah.
I can't help but think, and not to put too much pressure on you, Julia Childs didn't start her food career till after 40, till 50. So where's this going? Is there a ceiling to things, or do you still dreaming big? What's the Rachel Belle empire now? Are we on the ground floor?
I'm happy what I'm doing. I don't have a grand plan. I was offered another job recently for more money, and I turned it down because I love where I am. I have the best boss that I've ever had. I've never had a bad day at work in 3 years. I'm just enjoying what I'm doing. So maybe something else will come along eventually. But for me, and I've kind of been like this for, like, I should probably take a job that offers a lot more money, but my happiness is more important. And I would rather, you spend a lot of time at work. I would rather enjoy what I'm doing now than take the risk of doing something else.
Not a second TV show or a second cookbook, or
I don't have time, but I have a second cookbook that I've wanted to write since before this first cookbook came along, and I just haven't made the time to write the proposal. But I just made a plan yesterday for going out of town in the fall and having a weekend away so I can just sit and write the proposal, which will be like an outdoor, like hiking, van camping. And my editor's excited about it. She wanted my proposal a year and a half ago, but if it happens, it happens. Well, it's like, I don't want to write under duress because I had such a good time with the first one. It's like, I don't want to force it. So I want to only do it when it's going to feel good for me.
All right, so let's tell, this was me just catching up with you, but if people want to consume this stuff, tell them where to do it, and then we're going to come back. We got some just regular news stories like we would have done with Ring My Bell back in the day. But where do they get the book? Where do they get the TV show? Where do they get the podcast?
Yeah, thanks for asking, Ron. So if you go to cascadepbs.org, that's where the TV show is, but you can also watch The Nosh on YouTube if you just search The Nosh with Rachel Belle. And the first 2 seasons are on Alaska Airlines. So if you're on a little trip, you can watch it, and they're only 8.5 minutes. So they're these like quick little bites. So yeah, all 3 seasons, The Nosh with Rachel Belle. You can listen to the podcast anywhere you get podcast, like where you're listening to this podcast right now. Just search for Your Last Meal. In November, we're going to be Your Last Meal. Okay. And for folks who haven't listened, I interview celebrities about their last meals. Everyone from Melissa Etheridge to John Waters
Has
to
anyone ever picked
Neil
a
deGrasse
steakhouse?
Tyson. Most chosen meal. Don't choose steakhouses anymore, everybody. I'm tired of it. I just got off the phone with Grace Potter before I was here. But yeah, so in November, we're going to be having a big event at Town Hall that we're still planning right now. So if you want to come to that, follow me on Instagram, Hello Rachel Belle, or I have a Substack that you can find. If you go to my website, hellorachelbelle.com, and I have a newsletter with Cascade PBS that's called the Nosh Newsletter, which you can sign up for if you go to Cascade PBS and find my page.
Okay.
So if you want to keep up and come to the event, but my idea is I'm hoping to bring in
Or
like
just go by her house.
guests
and
of
knock on the
past.
door and
Just
say,
knock
"Hey,
on the
Rachel
door.
Belle, what's
Find me.
up?"
I'll be on my roller skates. And then Open Sesame is the cookbook, and you can get it anywhere books are sold. It's half off on Amazon right now.
Nice.
So it's cheap.
And the soba noodles. The soba noodles.
The boba soubles are
pretty
right.
good.
And support your local bookstores.
All right, so there's the catch up on Rachel Belle. When we come back, why are the young people not drinking booze? We'll talk about it next when the Ron and Don Show rolls on. Hey, it's Ron from Ron and Don Radio here with Team Lisa with a Y, our mortgage sponsor here. Lisa, I have a situation right now. The man has a house in Vancouver. The wife has a house in Seattle. They now have 2 kids and like, we need a bigger house. What do you do when you got 2 separate houses and now someone's a couple?
That's actually a pretty common situation, and we have a really good product for that. It's called Departing Residence, and what that program allows us to do is we can give that wonderful couple with their kids a new conventional mortgage, and we don't have to count the payment on either of their existing properties in their debt-to-income ratio if we know they're going to sell them, and maybe they want to keep them as rentals. Then we can give them credit for market rent as qualifying income without even having to get a lease agreement.
Wow, that's a really cool product. So if you find yourself in a scenario where like, I don't know how this is going to work. I don't know how we're going to get the new house because we already have a house or we have 2 houses. I go to Team Lisa with a Y. What happens when I go to the website or I call you guys?
Well, we always prefer that you give us a call first because everybody's situation is unique and we want to really understand what you're looking to do.
And then you set up a Zoom call or in-person meeting or one or both, whatever's easiest?
One or both, yes, exactly.
Okay. So go to Team Lisa with a Y. That's TEAMLYSA.com for all your mortgage needs.
If you find yourself dreaming about a new home, go from just a dream to the Dream Team. Schedule your time at ronandonsitdown.com.
Hey, welcome back to the Ron and Don Show. Don't forget, if you have some real estate needs, you're jumping into buying or selling a house, let's connect. Go to ronandonsitdown.com or you can email me, ron@ronanddon.com, and we can sit down and make a plan for you. We're going to get to why kids aren't drinking the booze anymore.
Wait, can I just, because Don's not here, can I help out a little bit?
Sure.
I want to say hey to my Snohomies.
Why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you? My Muckle Teacons? What is it called? What's the other one? There's one other Snohomy. My Pew.
Samamis?
My Snohomies. My Snohomies.
Snohomies.
That's it. Okay. Now I've done my Don due diligence, my triple D.
So we'll get to why the youngs aren't drinking anymore. But I was really curious about your take on this topic. So I was out at a happy hour a week or so ago, and I'm chatting to my server, and it sort of dawned on me as I'm chatting with them that this person basically has a long commute to come in and serve me happy hour clams. Mm-hmm. And I was like, wow, I knew that in the back of my mind, but I see this server every time I go into this restaurant, and we're sort of friendly at this point. I've been in there half a dozen times. I was like, that's kind of sucks. And so I started to go into this and research it a little bit and go, can hospitality workers or really anyone in the service industry afford to live where they work? Mm-hmm. And the basic answer is no by a large margin. So I did this study, and then I want to talk to you because your show and your professional life is all tied into, I think, this population of people, either restaurateurs, servers, a lot of people in the service industry.
Yeah.
I mean, you travel with, sort of white collar jobs as well, but probably more than me, you're interacting with people on boots on the ground a lot more. So Washington minimum wage in 2025 was $16.66. It went up in 2026 to $21. And they say if you just wanted to have a regular regular 2-bedroom apartment in Seattle or Bellevue, you would need to make $51.37 an hour.
Oh my God.
And so just throwing those facts out there, how do you feel about this? Do you know this person that like wants to live in Seattle and literally has to commute here to serve other people?
I don't know this person, but I know this is happening. And I was interviewing a restaurant owner recently who told me that his restaurant is basically a nonprofit to him at this point. He literally doesn't make a dime. When he told me this, that he hasn't taken a profit in 3 years, I said, well, you mean after you pay your mortgage and your bills, right? He said, no, nothing. I keep it open so that I can keep paying these employees. And I have like a catering business, and that's how I make my money. But this makes me nothing because...
Wait, so he pays he's not even covering the note on the building?
He pays everything on the building, but it's not his home mortgage or anything like personal. So yeah, it's like everything for this business, and he doesn't get a dime once he's paid the workers and the rent and all of that.
And I'm sure his prices on his menu are not super cheap.
No. And that's the problem is, I think like beyond this topic we're talking about, people are so upset right now about how expensive food is and restaurant costs are. And it's not the fault of the restaurant owners. I just kind of want to make that clear because I've been thinking about this a lot since he was talking to me. People are like, why are they charging us? As if they're getting rich, as if that's right. Like a place, like a profession to make a lot of money, and they're not. I mean, Renee Erickson just released, how much she makes a year because there was just, did you read these stories?
I did not read this story.
Let's see, it was the Walrus and the Carpenter workers went on strike. They wanted to form a union. They said they weren't being paid enough. And she immediately the next day just showed publicly all their finances. And she makes, I think, $130,000 a year as the owner of several restaurants.
Yeah,
so
it's like 5 restaurants.
Yeah. And
right?
like, that's a nice salary, but she's not like a millionaire, I think the head chef was making like 115 or 120. So...
Well, and I remember when Tom Douglas shut down some restaurants really quickly after COVID.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of vitriol towards him of like, how can you do this? And he's like, because we're not making any money. Like, I don't have
1,000 employees.
Yeah. And he didn't have the wherewithal to support them with no revenues coming in. And I was mad at first too. I was like, come on, Tom. Like, where are you closing all these? But then it was like, once I looked at the math, I was like, oh, like this razor thin margins.
Yeah.
Here.
And food costs are higher. I mean, we have, if you saw that article in the Seattle Times a few months ago, we have the most expensive food in the country in restaurants and fast food and in supermarkets.
So who is it to blame?
I don't know. That's the problem. I think it's like a really systemic issue because it's food costs are high, rents are high. And how can we blame like a Tom Douglas in this situation? Like, why is he responsible for 1,000 people to make money when he's not making money? And this is the problem when you don't have any kind of socialism, any socialist, like there's no resources, like you don't get anything.
Because you guys know how to make a small fortune in the restaurant business, right?
Start with a large fortune?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like the people that you know more than I do, but I have a neighbor that is opening up a sake bar situation, and she's doing it.
I just heard her on Tom Douglas's podcast.
Like it's a passion project.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not like, hey, how can I make the most money in my life? It's like this is what they're into.
Yeah.
It comes from a position of hospitality of like, I have this thing that I really love and care about. I do it really well. Can I put it out into the community and make people happy?
Yeah.
Like that's what you want to do. But when you look at these numbers and you think about, I want not just restaurant workers, I want the school teachers and the firefighters and I went to a physical therapy thing today. I hope that he makes enough money to live near the clinic. I don't know if he does.
Yeah.
But like if it's $50 an hour just to get an apartment, I guess I'm like, I hope that guy is not commuting an hour and a half so that he can make me do calf raises.
Yeah. I mean, I think I don't know if it's a city, a county, or a state government problem because we don't have any rent control. So they just keep raising the rent. And these people have no choice. It's like, look what Mandani is doing in New York City. Like he's trying to fix this problem and he's actually like starting to do it because it's the same thing. I listened to him on a podcast the other day. He said in New York City, the average person has to make $3,500 a year to afford to live in New York City.
300,000?
Yes.
Okay.
300,000,
Wow.
which is nuts. And so he's like, we shouldn't be treating this city like a museum that people are going to come back and visit, and it's just full of rich people. Like, there has to be a way. So whether it's like taxes, rent control, like people should be allowed to live here, and not because when I moved here 21 years ago, I had, a nice brick 100-year-old building in Queen Anne with a view of the Sound, and it was $750 for my one bedroom.
Right.
It's not that anymore, and I know like prices go up, but there has to be a way, because in countries in Europe, especially in Scandinavia, like there's not a lot of houseless people. People get to live where they want to live. They have social services. Like, there is a way to do it.
So when you mentioned in the first segment that you're a frugal person, I've seen this with my own two eyes.
I'm better than I used to be, though.
When you also love food and you love restaurants and you have friends in this industry. So when you go in for maybe you and a friend for a nothing special meal, like a fine restaurant, and it's $120 or something, you're like, I just got an entree and a cider, or whatever. What's your emotional reaction and then your intellectual reaction, because you have more exposure than most people?
Yeah. Well, on the frugality, I think everybody has places in their life where they are okay spending more money, and then other places where they're not. And for me, food is a place where I don't mind spending more money. I think it's the decision of deciding to go out. If that's the prices, I've agreed to that. I can look at the menu online. It's not like I'm getting, what is this bill? So it's my choice that I decided to go there. So I don't blame the restaurant.
It's been like that? Or were there times where you're like, oh my God, this is expensive. $20 for a cocktail. What are we talking about?
I don't get the outrage. I can still be like, God, I can't believe it's this much, but not in a, this is the fault of the restaurant. I can't believe they're doing this to me. It's just like, whoa, life is different now. It is way more expensive. Like, a few friends and I went out for pizza. It's still like a nicer place, but it's still a pizza. We got 2 pizzas, a salad, and I think we each got a drink, or maybe someone got an extra, and it was $75 each on a Tuesday night. Like, $75 each for pizza and salad. And so it is crazy, but I chose that. And
so in that scenario, if it is $75 a pizzeria, let's say the pizza was undercooked or the salad wasn't to your liking, will you go, hey, I'm sending this back because like we're spending several $100s in a pizzeria?
This is something I've been wanting to talk about, Ron, because of what happened that very night. Oh, interesting, So we got a Caesar salad, and just as soon as you saw it hit the table, you could tell it had so much dressing on. I could tell I wasn't going to like it, and it was like swimming. And this is like a more upscale place where I thought, how did that leave the kitchen without, they saw what that looked like. They should not let that leave the kitchen. But I tried it. It was, all of us were like, bleh, nobody ate it. The pizza actually was also not anywhere near how good we thought it was the last time we went a year ago. It was super greasy. And I said, like, what do we do? I said, I know that when you hear from owners, they say, don't post on Yelp. Tell us first. We can try to make it right. We didn't post on Yelp, but we also didn't say anything.
Why didn't you say anything?
I knew that they weren't going to do it because of the way we were talking. And I was like, I could just tell by the way our server was, because I asked a question about a drink. I said, what is blah, blah, blah ingredient? And she said, I don't know. I'll go check. But she said it in this way, like, I don't want to check. And she never came back and told me what it was. So I got the vibe that she was going to think I was a pain for sending it back, which still shouldn't matter. Because I think there's a difference between, it's not like, I don't like this.
It's relatively objective. Like, you can look at the dish and go, this was not prepared well.
Right. Because I think you can't say, I don't like this.
So in other words, the price that you're paying for you.
I regret not sending it back.
So the price that you're paying and the quality are not necessarily hand in hand. You could be at a place where you have a $40 pizza and you're like, it's not my favorite pizza, but we live in Seattle, so pizza's $40.
Well, I'm not going back. I won't go back. So that's the thing. It's not, you have to meet your end of the bargain and make it good. If it's going to cost that much, then you should be operating at a higher level. I mean, everyone should be making the food good, but if you're charging that much, you definitely should. So that's how I won't spend my money there anymore.
Yeah, so I mean, this is going to be interesting to me because my life, of course, in real estate, thinking about that person at the bar making $50 an hour, like in my mind, I'm going, there are months that I don't make $50 an hour. Not that I'm better than them, but it's like, I'm not guaranteed $50 an hour. And the person, it's just a disconnect to me. It's a disconnect for like, I want them to be able to live in Seattle. I want people to have a good life. And I also want to be able to go out on a Tuesday and not spend $200 for dinner.
I think it needs to be something the city and the county does again, because if rents were cheaper, then the cost of living wouldn't be as high. So it's like, why are restaurant owners responsible for paying someone $50 an hour, just like a huge tech company is that makes a lot more money?
The other thing,
like, they shouldn't have to be the ones.
If I can whine for a moment, the one thing I was out with my brother-in-law was in town, and he looked at the tab and he's like, "What's this 3% service fee or whatever?" And I was like, "I don't know." Yeah. And he's like, "There's a 3%. It just says service fee, and like there's some disclaimer on the bottom or whatever."
It's not the tip.
It's not the tip, and so you're sort of like, what does that mean? Like, if the price of my meal is 3% higher, just make the menu 3% higher.
I don't want to see it.
Right.
I know. I agree. Would you send back the salad?
I would.
Yeah.
I would just, but I wouldn't be what's a male Karen called? A Ken? I wouldn't be like, ah! You'd be like, "Hey, this seems really overdressed, and can we either get another one?" I did this recently, and I always try to preface it and go, I'm not angry or mad. I just think this wasn't well done.
Yeah.
And I'd like to exchange it or take it off the tab,
I think
please.
it's because you don't care what the server thinks about you, and I think that this is why I'm in therapy, because I cared what the server thought about me, even though I didn't really like her.
All right.
I don't know.
Okay. So when we come back, we're going to talk about why the young people aren't drinking anymore.
Kids these days.
And is it okay to ghost someone that you've been dating for an extended amount of time? This story shocked me. We'll get to that next on The Ron and Don Show, featuring Rachel Belle.
Ron and Don, from radio to real estate. When you're ready to grab a cup of coffee and sit down with the guys, go to ronanddonsitdown.com.
Final segment.
Action.
All right, Ron and Don Show featuring Rachel Belle. Feels like we're getting the band back together. Again, ronanddonsitdown.com for all your real estate needs, and teamlisa.com. Teamlisa.com for all your mortgage needs. Rachel, two stories that caught my attention as we got a truck outside.
They're big fans.
We're leaving the window open because it's so hot in her. Two stories. Let's start with the ghosting story first. So this was, I forget the publication that it was in, but I'm reading the story.
It was Wired, interesting.
It was Wired. Wired magazine. And so you and I had both been on dating apps back in the day, and it's pretty customary now that you could be texting someone and then all of a sudden they just disappear. Mm-hmm. And that was
I assume they all died. You
right.
know?
So that's a
what else could have
feature
happened?
Of the dating culture that happens all the time. And then it kind of migrated into even after you'd met someone in person. So at first it was like we'd never met. It just fizzled out. They said something that I thought was weird, and I just didn't respond. Then it became, Rachel and I went on a date or two. And now it fizzled, and I'm just not even going to say anything, and it just fades away. And so you can be like, "Hey, I thought we were going to go out again," or whatever. So that ghosting. Now it's migrated into fully established relationships. And
like years long.
Yeah, so this article in Wired Magazine had a couple examples. One of them was from Seattle. One couple had moved in with each other over 4 years, and the man says that she changed dramatically politically. So she was out of town, and I believe that he just packed up his stuff and left and never responded. And other people in this like Reddit subgroup, which I don't know if I really understand these subdivisions of Reddit, but they were talking about people will do this to family members now, or if they feel like their parent was abusive, or even an entire side of a family, like, those people were always crazy, and they just go into the bushes and like never say anything.
Homer Simpson back into the bushes.
So do you have this desire at all?
No.
Even when it's awkward?
No, I mean, life is awkward. You have to do things that you don't want to do. I hate breaking up with people. I hate ending things. It's terrible, but you have to do it. What else are you supposed to do? I guess just move out.
Right.
Don't tell anybody. But I'm curious how old they are, because I'm wondering if this is like younger people who were like high school or college during the pandemic, and so they're socially weird, or are these just cowards who feel free?
I think people communicate if your main mode of communication is text.
But if you live together?
Yeah, if you live together, that one's really odd.
That's nuts.
I guess I get. So here's my caveat: if something is abusive, so either way, physical abuse, emotional abuse,
you can leave.
I think there's a thing where you can just withdraw.
Yes.
I even will go as far as with a parent. Like if you're a parent and you have a toxic relationship,
Yeah.
and I'm sure that people have tried many, many times. Hey, mom. Hey, dad. Like. Like you try to find common ground and you just can't. I can see a justification for that. Maybe not in like a full never talk to them again, but if it comes up to say, hey, I've decided I don't want to be in your life
But
anymore.
that's still saying something.
Yeah. So I don't know. The ghosting culture it's very weird.
I can't.
be your parent.
It's very weird. Like
I mean, for the guy who just moved out, there's so many layers there of like, this woman relied on him for half the rent.
Right.
Like, what is she going to do? I mean, there's so many things that messed up her life. And also, this poor woman for the rest of her life is like, what happened and
now
where
I
is
see
he?
it in Wired magazine.
He's on the back of a milk carton because of her. Yeah, it's so confusing. I mean, I think you learn a lot from having those awkward moments. I mean, I personally have, like, I don't think most people want conflict, and I don't think most people are very good at it. But like through those kind of moments, I've taught myself and pushed myself and learned how to communicate better. And
have you found though, because I have friends that are much younger than me, like 15 years or more younger than me, there's a tendency that if they will not initiate communication by and large, like for the most part, I'm stereotyping here, but like it's very much text-based, and you can say, hey, let's go to a Mariner game, or let's do the thing. And like almost exclusively, like I feel like I would have to initiate. You're sort of carrying that. And then once, if you do end up going out, it's great. But like they're not inclined to, like if I have someone my own age or a little older and you go do something, almost inevitably the next day is either a phone call or a text says, hey, that was really great last night. Thanks for hosting.
Yeah.
Let's do it again or whatever. Like there's some sort of
recognition
protocol.
that something occurred.
And it's a real stark line in my life. I don't know if you experienced that same thing. I think this is a symptom of that, of just like communication's almost disposable now. There's not an expectation or an etiquette around it anymore.
I mean, I've never been ghosted personally. Have you?
Oh yeah, on like the dating apps.
You
of
have?
course.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah, people, but not if I've like been talking to someone a while even. I just think with text, it makes it so easy. Not if you're with someone for years, but like many times I go out on one date and then as soon as I get home, I just write and say, it was really nice meeting you. It wasn't a match for me. Good luck. Poof. It's so easy because you don't have to do it to someone's face. It's so easy. I think I fall on the opposite though, because I am very good friends with many of my exes, which a lot of people do not understand. My friends are cool with it. I don't know what they're saying behind my back. Maybe people are like, what's going on? But I know a lot of people are very black and white about like, if you break up, you don't talk to them again. And these people are people that like, obviously there was no abuse or anything. It's like, it was fine.
You liked them for a reason.
Yes. And the people that I haven't stayed friends with were people that when you're dating, you're like, I kind of wasn't friends with them when we were dating. Like, I don't really want to hang out with them anymore.
If you're starting a new relationship and they realize that you're still friends to whatever degree you're friends with an ex, how does that conversation usually go?
Honestly, I only had this come up for the first time a few months ago. It had never come up before. Nobody I dated cared that I was friends. They've met. Like I had when I was with someone, you know, they've met various exes because we're close friends and they're coming to events and stuff. And to my knowledge, because I'd be like, "Are you okay? It's everything," and they don't care. This year
they don't care.
This year I had a different experience. I mean, you have to have some time in between for things to like cool down and for you to like feel like there's been enough time. Yeah. But yeah, I have like 3 exes who would pretty much do anything for me and I would do for them. And then other people that I'm like still friendly with. So I don't know.
Think
you
that's
just
probably more healthy.
Yes, I think I'm way on the opposite side though from most people. Like I'm on the extreme side of ex friendships. Yeah.
And then let's go into the final story for today's show, and that is a new trend. And we've heard about this for a while. millennials are drinking less and less.
Not millennials,
or
right? It's more like Gen Z.
So
Yeah.
Gen Z is drinking way less
Well,
than
everyone's drinking less,
millennials. And so bar owners now have been like, what do we do? And so like some bars are like, oh, we're going to have this big dance night. And they said people would come to the dance night, walk right by the bar, not order anything, and just go dance. And they're like, okay, this isn't how we make our money.
Yeah.
Like, we got to pay the DJ. And so some bars, and I haven't seen this, but I would probably be into it, they're saying they're doing events for, I'm going to say people our age, even though you're younger than me, people in our age bracket, to say, come, and it's going to be from like 6 p.m. to 9 p.m., and then you're out. So you're not like doing a live music event where it doesn't go on till midnight.
I just bought a ticket for something like
Get outta
this.
here.
Yeah, there is this. I thought it was just in Seattle, but it's around the country. It's called Early Birders. And next month, or this month, I think, at the Crocodile, it's called Early Birders, and it's a dance night, and it's only for women or like female identifying people. And it starts at 6 o'clock.
And are you going to get there at 6?
Hell yeah. Oh my God. When I saw it, I was like, this is why, because I mean, I'm only 46, but my friends and I were like, can we have dinner at 5? Like, let's Golden Girls it up. Like, let's go home. So it's 6 to 9. And on the website, it says something like, I got to get up in the morning. You know, like, I can't do this. I love it because
the display inside, it's going to be the lights and the music and the whole spiel.
And every time they have like a different theme of music, it could be 90s hip hop. This one is going to be like more new wave kind of.
What's your what's your relationship with alcohol these days? Like, in other words, when you see these stories of people trending down and you get so many news stories about it, like, I try to really be mindful of it. I love a good cocktail, but almost more for someone was telling me this the other day. It's like, you really get into the recipes. It's like, if I'm going to drink, I don't want to pop off vodka and cranberry. Like, I want to make a proper drink, and I enjoy the whole ritual of it.
Because you're also really into food and cooking, and so for you, it's just kind of another arm of that.
It's not just like, let me swig like, I don't want to take a shot or something. Like, I want to have a proper drink, but I am mindful of it, where I don't want to be on a Tuesday night by myself and go, I'm going to slam down 6 cocktails tonight. But like, all of this onslaught of media around alcohol has made me go, okay, I really need to pick my punches now on how many and how frequently I'm going to do this.
Yeah, a lot of.
You guys heard of this Borg?
What is that?
So my kids that are 20 or whatever, 20 whatever. It's basically like a Spodie in a gallon jug. So like, it's like fruit juice and alcohol and stuff, and you make your own. And then you fill up this jug, and they write on it with their name.
Like Jungle Juice?
People.
And you take it to a bar?
No, they take it to a party, and then that's your drink, and you have to drink the whole gallon before the night is up or whatever, something like that.
Well, that's very collegey, yes.
Something like that.
I have not heard of that.
That's kind of the opposite of what you're talking about.
Well, good for them. Good for them. They're keeping it up. I feel like when I go out with friends and they drink less, they always get an NA cocktail. I don't see my friends just getting water now. People, at least that I know, are so excited about all of these cool new, like, my friend owns Cheeky and Dry in Finney. If you're someone who doesn't drink, go there. It's
a great store.
First in the state, and it's all NA bottle shop, and she's very picky about what she chooses, and you can taste. And I tried an NA. I don't get them very often, but I tried one recently that was so good. It wasn't sweet. It tasted actually like a cocktail. It had the bitter notes. So I think that's, like, I've heard Tom Douglas say, I think that alcohol sales are maybe 20% down, but they're filling in the gaps. Like, it's hard, at least, living here on the coast, to go to a place that doesn't have a big selection of NA. But yeah, I kind of drink the same because I never drink that much.
Right.
Like, I get like a beer or two, and that's it for me. But these kids these days, they're boring. That's what I will say about that. I will say, I think a lot of them are too serious, and they're freaking boring. Like, the youth are always supposed to be the wild ones. This is the first time when the older people, like Gen X, are saying, can you live a little? Could you have sex? Could you go have a drink? Could you calm down? They're so mad about everything. It's like everything. I can't believe they said that. I mean, I don't know. Everything with, like, believe me, I am so on board with, like, using people's pronouns and all of that. I believe in that deeply. But if someone actually accidentally makes a mistake and says the wrong thing, they get so mad. And it's like, you guys are like 70 years old. You're like, have a good time. Calm down.
Well, I think there is something too, even about the previous topic on ghosting, where when you're learning who you're going to be as a grown up, having a couple drinks to loosen your inhibitions a little bit and go, I'm going to go talk to that girl over there because I think she's pretty. Like, it's hard to do on 0 drinks.
Maybe that's why they're having less sex. It's because
Maybe.
they have
IRL,
too
like-
high inhibitions. What is it? Too low? High inhibitions.
High inhibitions.
Yeah. It goes together.
Right.
Yeah.
So like go out. I heard one guy, that Prof G guy, is like, we should lower the drinking age to like 16, but you have to be in the pub with 3 mates. Like you can have a beer, but you have to socialize together in a public place. And he's like, because we need to get them out and talking to each other, talking to other human beings. And I don't know if I agree with the 16. I think he was doing a little bit tongue in cheek of like, let's lower the drinking age as long as you're out in public doing it.
Yeah, I don't agree with Lou. And I'm joking too. It's like people shouldn't drink if they don't want to drink.
Right.
But maybe bars will have to have like a minimum where it's like, well, then get an NA thing or like buy a Coke or something.
Loosen
like
up.
you got to have something
Even
if you want to hang out here.
dancing or karaoke or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like I would never do karaoke, and then 1.5 drinks in, I'm like, fire it up, let's go. I'm singing.
Hi, I'm Ron Upshaw for alcohol.
Exactly.
Yeah. Have you heard of it?
Exactly. All right, so that's it, Ron and Don Show. Thanks for coming in today.
Thank you so much for having me.
appreciate it.
This is so fun.
It has been super fun. Rachel Belle, you can find her on The Nosh with Rachel Belle. You can find her cookbook on all the bookstores in the world. It's called Open Sesame, and the podcast is called Your Last Meal. There is an episode with Don and myself
Yes,
back in the
there's one
day
episode.
where I was the most pretentious last meal you've ever had on the
Honestly,
show.
he had the bougiest last meal, and then Don had like a really like
Meat and potatoes.
no, his was kind of fun. His was kind of a high low. I don't want to say what it was.
You can go find the episode in the Your Last Meal.
Yeah.
If you need us for real estate, go to ronandonsitdown.com. We will see you next time right here in the Ron and Don Studios. Peace. What does Don usually say?
Bye.
Only on the Ron and Don Radio Network. Something like that.
Something like that.
Something
yeah.
like that.
To all
See
the
ya.
snow homies. Bye.
Well, that's it. Show's over. We'll see you next time on the Ron and Don Radio Network.